I didn't cough one time when I was in California. And I got back and
Good to go. All right, let's go ahead and call to order the regular meeting for the Oakdale City Council, May 9th, 2023. Sarah, will you take the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Hurt,
Present.
Councilmember Ingebrigtson,
here.
Councilmember Morcomb,
Here.
Councilmember Olson,
Here.
Mayor Zabel.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up on our agenda tonight is the approval of the agenda. Council members, we have a slightly amended version in front of us, adding a set of regular meeting minutes as well as removing an item from the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any conversation? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda is adopted. Moving right along to the approval of minutes. First, we have a set from the workshop April 25th, 2023. Council members, are there any corrections? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I will abstain as I was absent. Next up is minutes from the regular meeting, April 25th, 2023. Council members, any corrections? I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I will abstain because I was absent as well. Finally, regular meeting minutes from April 11th, 2023. Any corrections? I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those minutes are approved as well. Next up, we have a public hearing for the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. It is our annual report. I think I'm looking towards our contract city engineer, Brian Bachmeyer. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. As the mayor indicated, we are required to do an annual hearing to give an update on our stormwater pollution prevention program for the community to make sure it's in compliance with the general permit that's issued by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. And then also to give the community an opportunity to present any concerns they may have regarding our surface waters in our community. So with that, I do have just a 3-page PowerPoint to kind of talk about our progress regarding our compliance with the permit, the general permit. The MPCA does issue 2 permits. The first one is the construction stormwater permit. That is on a project-by-project basis, and it's issued to project owners and contractors. And so when we do city projects, we are required to apply for the permit. Generally, the conditions of that permit apply to monitoring requirements and erosion control practices during the course of constructing that project. The current construction permit was issued by the MPCA in 2018, and we anticipate that there will be an updated permit coming out sometime later this fall. And so we'll be looking for that and being aware of the new construction requirements. The second permit is the MS4, that's the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System General Permit. That one was adopted in November. We received our coverage under the general permit in October of 2021. And so that includes 5 minimum control measures as part of that. And that really applies to all agencies that discharge into surface waters of the state, agencies such as MnDOT, the county, and city. So Washington County and the city of Oakdale fall under that MS4 permit. And we have been doing things to bring our program into compliance with the new general permit. As an example, recently we've updated our educational requirements through the partnership we have with the Washington County watershed districts and the Soil Conservation Service to include educational components regarding management of pet waste, and also de-icing salts. Most recently, the council did adopt an ordinance regarding the storage of ice control materials on private property. So that has been completed. Currently working with the city attorney and staff on updating our policies to make sure we're current on the other things relating to checklists, illicit discharge, and management housekeeping practices. So that's still a work in progress. You'll probably be seeing some proposed ordinance amendments and policy changes over the next several months. We have completed our requirement for illicit discharge with all field staff, including the police and fire and public works staff, so that has been completed. We have also drafted a map identifying areas of high risk or more risk that may require more frequent inspections, and city staff is working on a program to develop that schedule. With that, that's kind of an update on our stormwater pollution prevention program. I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have regarding that. Once that's completed, then it's an opportunity for the community to present any concerns.
Thank you, Brian. Council members, any questions for Brian right off the bat? Seeing none, we will move on to the public hearing portion of this part of the agenda. So as Mr. Bachmeyer mentioned, we are required under state law to host a public hearing. Before I open the public hearing, just a few reminders about House rules. Individuals are welcome to step up to the podium and speak on this topic and share their thoughts. We ask everybody to state their name and address for the record. And House rule is, respect applies. So it's the golden rule. Even if you disagree with somebody, please follow that golden rule. So we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. To members of the public, if you'd like to discuss this, please step on up, as I said. Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have to adopt anything, or is it just public hearing and presentation?
Just a public hearing.
Yes, just conduct the hearing.
Good deal. All right, public hearing is done. Next up on the agenda is open forum. This is an opportunity for members of the public to step up and share anything that's on their mind. Before we get to that, we have a few proclamations and recognition to do. So first up, we have a proclamation recognizing Public Works Week. So the proclamation goes as follows. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of the public works system and programs such as water, sewer, streets, parks, forestry, environmental services, public buildings, and fleet services. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works staff, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff the public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. And whereas the third week of May is nationally recognized as an appropriate opportunity to take time and thank those that serve in our local public works department. Therefore, I, Kevin Zabel, Mayor of Oakdale, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21st through the 27th as Public Works Week and acknowledge the important contributions that the Public Works Department makes every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life in the city of Oakdale. I know I speak for my city council colleagues when I say that Public Works does an absolutely tremendous job in our community, regardless of the season. And, by far it is the department that our residents see the most, appreciate the most, and compliment the most. And they do a tremendous job every single day for our residents. So thank you, Jim. Next, we have a proclamation recognizing National Police Week. Whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which it falls as National Police Week to pay special recognition to law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and the protection of others. And whereas the International Association of Chiefs of Police has declared police officer safety and wellness a top priority, and the IACP Center of Officer Safety and Wellness promotes the importance of individual, agency, family, and community safety and wellness awareness. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their local police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas the City of Oakdale commends the brave men and women of our law enforcement community for continually summoning the courage to fulfill their solemn oath to protect and serve. And whereas the City of Oakdale also takes pause to remember those men and women of our law enforcement community who have lost their lives or have suffered permanent disabilities defending their communities. Therefore, I, Kevin Zabel, Mayor of Oakdale, do hereby proclaim May 14th through the 20th as National Police Week to commemorate police officers past and present who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all of Oakdale's residents. I think, we would all agree that the last month has been incredibly difficult for the law enforcement community, as we've seen a lot of very profound losses in that community. And when we look at the police department we have here in the city of Oakdale, we have some of the best there is. And every single day they handle whatever is thrown at them with dignity and grace and utmost professionalism. And I would stack our police department up against any cities. They do the work that needs to be done. It's often a thankless job, but we couldn't have the city without them. So Chief Newton, please convey our thanks to your department for everything that they do for our community. Finally, before we get to open forum, we have a certificate of recognition for a tree board member who resigned even though we didn't want him to. So, Mr. Stan Karwoski. So a little bit about Stan and his service on the tree board. The Oakdale Tree Board is one of our 5 city commissions, and anything having to do with the canopy, these individuals are involved. They do a tremendous job keeping our community beautiful. But Stan's service began as a founding member of that tree board in 1996. While he was a city council member, he served as liaison for that board from 2002 through 2014, serving as a bridge between their important work and city government. He served again as a tree board commissioner from 2017 through 2023, and we reluctantly accept his resignation that he tendered in January. So anytime you look around our community at the trees or the plantings or any of the tremendous work that tree board has done, buckthorn removal, can't forget to mention that. Stan has been right there in the middle of all of it, volunteering, lending his opinion on where our city should move forward. So on behalf of our city, we are incredibly grateful for your service. We appreciate it. And if you'd like to say anything, I know you always have something to say, Stan. Please.
Weren't you on there like 30-some years?
It's not that old, no. 26.
Oh. Well, thanks for the recognition. I think I'm the last founding member, 27 years. I think we planted during that time over 2,000 trees, a lot of shrubs. I was always advocate for planting the trees. They don't take as much maintenance. And even though I'm resigning, I still showed up Saturday for the tree planting program. So in the future, I plan to come to the planting projects and buckthorn when I can. But all good things must come to an end. It was just, even though there's not that many meetings, I can still participate as a citizen. The highlights for me is one of the projects was we did for about 4 years. I initiated a project working with MnDOT, and we planted probably 500 or 600 trees along Interstate 494, or I should say 694. Virtually any tree within the boundaries of the fence line were done by the tree board. we would get over 100 volunteers. And actually during that time, we got recognized by the National Arbor Day Foundation for a national award for collectively getting volunteers. I was on city council at the time. We were happy to have someone from the tree board go. No one stepped forward, so I did go down for that ceremony. And each year, the National Arbor Day only gives out about 8 awards or so, and this was in the Lady Bird Johnson Award category. So that was quite a recognition. So there's a great tree board right now. They do good things. I'm glad you support it. I think it sends a message to the community about beautifying, they give the tree giveaway, and I was happy to serve all these years, but I'll still be around. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Stan. We have a certificate of appreciation for you. I'm going to ask my colleagues to come down with me. We can snap a quick picture and present the certificate.
In the early years of the city council, I was called the tree hugger.
I think you still have that title.
Not fashionable to protect trees.
Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, council members, let's scroll up a little bit and tackle open forum. As I mentioned before, open forum is an opportunity for any members of the public joining us here tonight to step up to the podium, share anything on their mind. All we ask is that you state your name and address for the record and share your comments with us. Seeing none, we'll keep this moving to consensus motions. Council members, tonight we have A through C. Are there any of them that council members would like to pull for individual consideration? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve consensus motions A through C as presented.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And consensus motions A through C are adopted. Next section up is our checking in with our advisory boards and commissions. It looks like the only one that met was the Economic Development Commission, and Councilmember Herr is the liaison to that group. Noah, any update from the group?
We had our meeting, what was it, last week, Wednesday. It was the first meeting that we had. I introduced myself to everyone, and also got an update on the business retention program and how that's coming along. And I think that should be ramping up after a few more visits. And then there'll be a report done on just kind of the feedback from the business community. So just kind of excited to see what that report will show. And yeah, I'm happy to serve on that commission.
Great. Thank you, Noah. Next up, award of bid. Who's taking this one, Chris?
Brian.
Mr. Bachmeyer, welcome back.
One last item, if I may. We did open bids on April 20th. 5 contractors submitted bids for our annual street reconstruction program. Miller Excavating was the low bidder. They did our work last year and did a fine job. So we're comfortable making a recommendation that the contract be awarded. It was slightly higher than the engineering estimate, so we are showing a proposed revised budget to accommodate that. I can tell you that historically, our street reconstruction program typically comes in under the contract amount when it's all said and done. So I'm sure you'll see another budget amendment at the finish of the project, probably bringing it more in line with what the original CIP was. Also, as part of the recommendation is to authorize the administrator and mayor to sign the engineering contract for the construction management and inspections with SCH. And with that, I stand for any questions the council may have.
Council members, any questions? I just have one comment. We all know that costs are going up. the costs associated with this project, you know, the cost increases were an item of concern of mine. Specifically, you know, the use of GO bonds or general obligation bonds being used to cover that amount. You know, we all know interest rates are climbing. It was, in my opinion, a substantial amount. In talking with City Administrator Volkers, I had asked the question whether we could take that piece about amending the 2023 budget out, still keep the project moving forward, but look at other ways to internally fund that shortfall. You know, whether it's using other enterprise reserve funds, you know, unallocated budget reserves, if there's a project in the capital improvement program that we could delay a year and use that funding towards this project. We don't have any, or staff doesn't have any recommendations yet, but I would like to ask my colleagues for permission to keep those budget amendments off to the side for now and see if we can figure out a way to avoid, you know, $200,000 plus in additional bonds. I would welcome feedback on that. I don't think it would delay the project at all, and I don't think it would delay the bond sale at all, because that's not until August anyways, so we would have time to look at any budget adjustments. City Administrator Volker's shaking her head.
Right.
My comment would be, I would assume that staff has already done all that research and came up with the best solution. That's my assumption. And maybe this is what they came up with on how to fund the shortfall.
To that point, I asked the same question. The challenge is, you know, if we wanted to look at delaying a project that council has already approved, that is staff's guidance, you know, is to move forward with that project, so they couldn't really look at that. That would probably just be the one area that, you know, they have to go with what we already voted on, and I think we understand that, you know. And, you know, questions about, you know, the special revenue fund or unallocated reserve. Historically, we've never tapped those really for budget shortfall, so I'm not quite sure if they looked at those or if those options were on the table either.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, we did look at it from the staff perspective. We did not want to recommend that for all kinds of reasons, specifically our cash on hand, and we don't know what's happening with in the future. We have a very small special project fund, but you guys can certainly override us. But our recommendation was a bond increase based on what we know. We did not recommend any delaying projects, but that could be your call if you want to delay that discussion.
Well, I'll make the additional comment as well that in light of the fact that if we were to set aside that extra money or that portion of the bill and look for other ways to fund it, that would likely create a chain effect of other projects that were in our CIP that if they were not going to be done would have to be reallocated as well. It may be a larger conversation if there's more projects that are going to run into higher bids than we're expecting. But for this specific project, in order to keep everything moving on track with what we're doing in the city, I would recommend myself to stay with the GO bonds and continue with what the staff recommended.
Jake, any thoughts?
I agree with Andy. I think, you know, using the GO bonds, I think creates it's not ideal from a financial standpoint, but I think it creates the least amount of disruption.
You advocating for debt? I never thought I'd see the day.
Never advocate for it, but I think, you know, debt, one of the reasons debt isn't always an option is to handle unforeseen circumstances, whether it's in business or government. And I think this is a good situation where it might actually be appropriate, so.
Noah, do you have any thoughts?
You know, I would be in support of moving forward with how it is as presented, so.
Okay. Council members, any final questions for Brian or any staff, I suppose? If not, I'll look for a motion.
I will make a motion to waive reading and adopt resolution 2023-52, awarding the bid for city project R 2023-01, 2023 street improvements to Miller Excavating, Inc. in the amount of $4,005,933.33 and amending the 2023 budget, as well as authorizing the mayor and city administrator to sign an engineering service contract with SEH for construction-related engineering services in an amount not to exceed $385,000.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the bid is awarded. Thank you, Brian. Oh, Brian, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Staff reports. It's under engineering, but I see Mr. Getzlav up here. Chris and Andy, I'm gonna look to you. I think we're taking action on this. Do we want to wait on the presentation until we have final language? Or,
So, Mr. Mayor, City Council, you could do it either way. There is a request for consideration to table this at this point, so we can work on the language a little bit more, but we certainly can do the discussion presentation overview, and then you can decide to do that or just do that, whatever you want to do.
council members, I'd suggest waiting on the staff presentation until we have the final terms of the contract set.
I would agree.
I would agree.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to table Resolution 2023-53, amending a site plan conditions for impact apartments, right there. Yep, because we're not authorizing anything. There's a motion to table. Is there a second? Oh, wait, do we need a date?
Jim?
No.
Okay.
All right. There's a motion to table indefinitely. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? That is tabled. Let's go back to Mr. Thompson, check in with our city attorney. Jim, anything?
No, Mr. Mayor, members of council, nothing specific, but happy to answer any questions.
Council members, any questions for Mr. Thompson? All right, let's turn the other direction and check in with our city administrator, Ms. Volkers.
So, Mayor, City Council, I don't have anything other than what's on the agenda, and this is a big item for us, and I'm very excited to present it tonight. It's a compilation of a lot of time and effort that went into the process for our new public works facility. If you vote to support the motion tonight, that means we are headed in the right direction, and we've started the public works project. And so what's before you is we went out for bid for a new construction manager. We're doing the at-risk model. And really what that means is the construction manager is a partner with the architect and the city who's the owner, right? You're the city. I will represent you, but you're the city as the owner of the project. And we went out for bid. We received 8 bids. We've got a request for council action here that is very detailed and gives you a lot of history. But we had a lot of competition for this project, for the construction manager. It is the first capital project we've done, building project in 20-some years. And the rest of our buildings are all 40, 50 years old. So it's been a really long time for Oakdale. This is very exciting. So we had a lot of competition. We budgeted about a 2.5% for a construction manager for the project, and the total fee, the cost of construction, which is a compilation of all the cost of construction, is $25.5 million. Now with competition, maybe we'll get it less, hopefully it won't be more, but that's our estimate. We budgeted 2.5%, and we're requesting an award of the bid at 1.6% to Kraus Anderson tonight. So that's a significant savings, a great way to start this project, and I want to highlight a couple of things. The motion in front of you is to authorize the mayor and the city administrator to enter into the agreement with Kraus Anderson for the construction manager at-risk services in accordance with their proposal, which was the response to the RFP, okay? But there are some terms, we've been working with our attorneys on this for a little while, and there are some terms, you're gonna have to forgive me, I forgot to print off the terms. So I need to read them to you because I want you to really understand what we're getting into here. It's a good project, and Kraus Anderson was really good to negotiate with, so you need to know that. I think they're gonna be a really good partner. So some of the terms that are a little bit different than the RFP because we negotiated them, which is very normal. One thing that is the same is they will be paid a fee of $18,500 for pre-construction services. That was a very competitive price that we received for pre-construction services. That phase includes the Kraus Anderson providing ongoing construction and estimates. So remember the cost of construction. And assisting the city with all the bidding process for all the construction and materials and everything. So they're gonna start their work right away, and it's only gonna cost us $18,500. I say only because we're talking about a $20-some million project, okay? Another term of the contract that we're recommending be approved is the council tonight will award the construction contracts pursuant to the competitive bidding process. We want to make sure the market has the ability to bid, so we get some more competition, so that is part of the contract. Cross Anderson will be responsible for overseeing the performance of all work during the construction phase. That is a very important part of this agreement. The city is not in a position to do that, but Cross Anderson is, so they will be our partner in that. For the construction phase, Cross Anderson will be paid the 1.6% of the cost of the work. The cost of the work is currently estimated at $25.5 million, which does include Cross Anderson's fee. So it's rolled up into that, okay? And they will be paid monthly based on the progress of the work. Okay, so that's another term of the contract. After the city council awards the contract, if awards the contracts for the various components of the construction work, there will be a guaranteed maximum price that we will come back to you with, okay? That will be established. The city and Cross Anderson then will sign that guaranteed maximum price agreement. And anything beyond that will not be a cost to the city. So once that's determined, that's how it goes. And then if there is savings from the guaranteed maximum price, because every penny has to be documented, we receive 100% of the savings back. Okay? I will be the city's designated representative to keep this project moving. There will be day-to-day things that have to happen, and you're going to be authorizing, if you agree to it, that authority. I will have the ability to make the decisions on behalf of the city during construction. I will also be responsible for obtaining approval from you for anything beyond my purchasing power, which is $25,000 for change orders. So you're giving me authority to do the project, keep it going for the 20-some million. But anything change orders that's not in the original project, I will be coming back to you for official approval. You will know all along, as always, what is going on, so. And lastly, final payment to Cross Anderson will be made no later than 30 days after all the work is completed, and this is really important, and the punch list items are done. Okay, so we will be holding until that punch list. And that has been a thing in the industry. We just want to make sure that we get everything done that we need done. So Jim, our city attorney, worked really hard on this agreement. Did I miss anything, Jim? Okay. So that's what's before you tonight is consideration of approving that.
Thank you, Chris. Council members, any questions for Chris?
Not questions, Mayor, but I just want to say, we've been working on getting this project going. I mean, I joined the council, I think, in November of 2018, and this was already being worked on. And I just want to give a huge thank you to everybody, city staff, present and past, who had a part in getting this going, making this happen. Our Public Works Department, our employees deserve this. They've been working with some pretty mediocre facilities for a while now, and it's not that we haven't tried to provide it, it's just run its useful life, and it's time to build a new facility. And I also want to thank the residents of Oakdale for making this exponentially easier with the local option sales tax. I know it's not ideal for our residents, but it's my belief that it was the best option. So thanks to our residents as well.
Council members, any other comments or questions for Chris?
I have a question. What role does Cross Anderson play in the cleanup or the determination that the site is clean?
So Councilmember Olson, they will be our partner along with that. We are hiring our own environmental person to make sure our interests are met through the process. 3M has their own person. Remember, the whole thing's subject to Minnesota Pollution Control Agency approval every step of the way, but we will have our own representative, which will probably be will be an outside agency. 3M has their own, and then Cross Anderson, the architect, and us, Jim, as a city, the owner, will partner through the process to make sure everything's done properly. So we're kind of the overseers while the cleanup's being done
And
and checked.
there will need to be consensus if there's any disagreement.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes. And most importantly, remember, MPCA, right? Minnesota Pollution Control Agency won't sign off until everything is to the legal standard. So we're completely relying on them, but we have our own person to make sure that happens on our behalf, so.
One final comment is that, as you guys know, I do not support building on this piece of land, but I support the project. And I think the Public Works Department and our residents deserve a new building. They're in dire need of a new building. I just don't support it on this piece of land.
Council members, I'll look for a motion.
I will make a motion to authorize the mayor and city administrator to enter into an agreement with Kraus Anderson Construction Company for construction management at risk services for City Project B 2024-01, construction of a new public works building in accordance with their proposal dated April 3rd, 2023.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Contract is awarded. Council presentations. Who would like to go first?
Nothing for me.
Whoa, everybody calm down, right? No, anything?
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
All right, just a few from me. Public Works began flushing out fire hydrants yesterday, and the process is expected to take 1 week to complete. For residents, while flushing occurs, you may occasionally see discolored water. It is safe to drink, but if you do notice it, just let your tap run for a little bit, and it'll clear up after a few minutes. Before calling Public Works, no, I'm going to strike that, I just said it. There is an interactive map on the city's website with the tentative work zone, so if you want to know if your neighborhood has been flushed, you can go to oakdalemn.gov and check it out there. Throughout the month of May, the city of Oakdale is looking the other way on the grass height ordinance, so residents that want to participate in No Mow May can certainly do that. There's more information on the city's website, oakdalemn.gov, but we do want to stress that participation is voluntary. Residents are welcome to continue mowing as normal during the month if they want to, but if you want to participate, you can. Our Oakdale Spring Photo Contest is now open, so we are encouraging residents to snap beautiful spring pictures all around town and submit those by May 31st. Only Oakdale residents are eligible to participate, and photos must be taken in Oakdale. For full contest rules and to submit your photos, please visit the city website, oakdalemn.gov. Finally, every summer, the city recognizes eye-catching properties with the Oakdale Acorn Award. You can nominate as many properties as you'd like by June 30th. Residents will receive an award and recognition by the city council. We do break up the award categories into 3 categories: business, commercial, public, and residential. So if you see any residential properties or businesses or community organizations or churches that have stunning landscaping, please go ahead and nominate them for the award. I'm looking at Lori, I believe, on our website as well, oakdalemn.gov. There we go. That's all I have. Council members, should we pay some bills?
Let's do it.
In front of us, we have the claims roster for April 26, 2023 through May 9th, 2023. Council members, can I have a motion?
I would like to motion to approve claims for the period April 26, 2023 to May 9th, 2023 in the amount of $2,069,387.98.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any final thoughts? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Bills are paid. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And we are adjourned. Thank you and good night.